Hello, this is my second time for filming this video because in the first time I didn't have this cool microphone that grabs all of the audio so well. Because the last one made the audio sound like it was the microphone was screaming. It was so fun. Also, the last time I filmed this, I had hair. Now I don't. So hi. Okay, so I may be changing up my script because I have no idea what I'm doing and how I want to do it. So this first video sure is like an experience because there's so much happening. Character creation is hard. I've probably made like the same version of the same character multiple times and have made many iterations of either one aspect of them or just them in general. And it's kind of hard to get out of that type of creation, especially because you like your characters, you like having characters that are interesting, and why not deviate from what you like. But that's hard to get through, and it's hard to figure out what to do to make something entirely original, because I struggle with making something entirely original sometimes. But hopefully, I should not spin. Hopefully this video can help you create some characters that are very engaging and interesting, and something that you really enjoy and can really branch out from. Hi, I'm Arwan, and this is my personal process for character creation. Most people would say that a story is essential to creating a character. While I am inclined to agree, sometimes you just want a character just to have one, or maybe you want to personify something inspiring or design something to world build around. Yes, even stealing is a valid option because you end up evolving these characters for yourselves. And if you don't, well then I guess you're doing it wrong. Not to say that you're wrong, but I mean, there are good ways to steal. So a quick way that you could steal very well, I don't know how else to say it, is to find an artist that you can copy from in a inspirational way. So when you look at the artists that I will be searching up, like William Adolph, yep, I'm not gonna say his last name, and John William Goodward, or Godward, basically I steal from the way that they paint, really, and the way that they make their faces, so that I can make art in the style that I want. So the first step that I would consider would be, it's almost like a two-parter, but the two-parter is interchangeable. You're going to want to conceptualize your character. So my personal method for starting this endeavor would be to find a purpose, a reason. You can't have a character without a reason to have it. And yes, even just having a character is a valid reason, if that makes sense. As in you don't really know what you want to do with this character, but you want to have it because you just want to draw this character, or you just want to put them in scenarios. It doesn't matter if they don't have a plot or any backstory to them yet. You can flesh that out through whenever you want. And also, okay, so this is a quick recording for me to say that this is going to get rambly. So be ready. You can retcon stuff whenever you want. It doesn't matter if you feel like it's supposed to stick with this character. It doesn't matter. Just kick it out if you don't like it. If you also have any characters with other people, you role played with them with other people, and you don't speak to them anymore, whether it be because you guys fell out in a bad way or just stopped talking to each other, you can just replace the characters that those friends had with your own. it doesn't matter. This is your creative property, and this is also your, you know, your own story. This is your own creative effort. This is how much you put into this character and this story. So like, it doesn't matter if you don't speak with someone who used to work on it with you, because it's fine. Yeah. You're gonna want to conceptualize your character. Basically just figure out its purpose for why you want it to exist. And also like, what is their personality and their appearance. Basically creating just like a blank slate in a way for what you want them to be. Obviously in a more visual medium, you're gonna want to maybe take into account some visual design principles, so you can reinforce the personality that this character would have. Hi, this is my 4th time trying to record this. Basically what I want to say is that I finally got the mic to work with some help, and now we're just going to talk about how what I do is I try to make it so that my shape usage is very subtle, but when you compare them to others, like, you can see that there is a difference between them. Like how in the beginning where you saw like the 2 lineups of those characters, like I pointed out exactly what is different between all of them, and I try to apply that into almost all of the drawings that I do, especially when I'm first planning a character. Then the second step you would want to do is to find significance in that character. Basically find what you associate with them, or also like their voice. So things like symbolism, like I don't know. Yes. Basically just finding ideas, items, themes, symbols, and mood boards. Making mood boards is going to be so helpful. Having like a mood board for a character, or just a Pinterest board, it's perfect. Like you figure out like the character's aesthetics, you figure out like just images that have their general vibe and feel. Even like there's even like room pictures, so you could always find like the environment they like to surround themselves with, and like items that they just like to have. You don't really have to go too deep into it, but if it's a Pinterest board, you're probably going to fall deep into a pit of, oh, this picture is pretty, into the board it goes. I am guilty of doing that. I have Pinterest boards that are probably like 200 to 300 pictures large, because I just find really good pictures and go, wow, that goes there. Yeah. This isn't really a step, but more like something you should acknowledge while creating a character, and that is like what the medium your character will be a part of. And so you'll get to hear me ramble about this a lot, because I have a lot of thoughts on this. So for this character, I was to make a character for a D&D game, and this game had a lot of fewer limits because our DM was very kind enough to just world build on the spot, basically. Like, we all said, hey, we want to play this character, and then they were like, cool, I'll like just make something. And it was so cool. Just because like I'm normally in settings that do have constraints of like, like these races don't exist in this setting, because it just makes sense, or it just doesn't make sense to have this random race here, but with this, I got to play a fairy. So I wanted to try some new things with this character, and I had a few concepts. So when comparing how you make a character for a game, it's going to be a lot more different compared to like a character you're making for like a book or a comic or an animation. If you have something that is very linear in progression, I guess, your character is almost they're stuck in this almost semi-permanent personality that you need to keep up and, like, in a way not evolve too much, because your audience is experiencing the changes at a much different like pace than you, at you being the creator. But when you're in a game, like, everybody is experiencing your changes at the same time as you. And so also improv is very much what's it called, accepted in tabletop games, because you're role playing and you're speaking, and just like experiencing it in an auditory level, at least with like other people around you, it makes a lot more, and with like a smaller group too, it just makes a lot more sense to have either drastic changes or make changes that aren't really like super permanent. Yeah, I don't know if any of that made sense, but that is my viewing on how character arcs happen in like different forms of media. So yeah, for this character, I basically did not develop any personality at all. I cared more to create just a fun appearance first. That's basically my what's it called? My process when it comes to tabletop characters, because I just know that I can form a personality as I go within the game, and not really like need to care about having a character that is already set pre-session like 0. So basically I just kind of improv my way into creating a fleshed out character. For wine, I've drawn out the ideas coming from the meme by Iguana and Tapioca on Twitter, but I'm using the modified version by Sarajevo. I'm so sorry if anyone will say that I pronounced their username wrong, because I don't know how to speak. But the newer, I guess. Yeah, the newer template makes you think about your OC as a color, a flower, an animal, an object, a song, and a feeling. So yeah, basically just figuring out what to do with a character can totally help. Also, starting off with why you want them will be very helpful in creating a character that you will enjoy, because it's hard to like make a character that you're bored with, or not hard to make one, but it's hard to keep a character that you're bored with. If you're bored with the character, you may as well just go all out and change something about them, or rework them entirely. There is no rules for making a character and what to do with them. It's just your own views on how you want to make this character, and if you're stuck in a rut of how to make one, and how to make like an original one, it's always good to also like just practice some new like things that you don't do within a character. So like if you have a character that you love, you may as well also make one that you just hate the qualities of, but like just you still make them anyway. I have a few of characters of those where like some of them are just like I hate them because they're a little stupid and probably not emotionally like smart, but I still have them around because then I can change that eventually within their story, after they meet like other characters of mine and be like, wow, maybe I should stop being emotionally stupid. This is such a bad example, but like, you know, it's kind of like that. If you just figure out things that you don't like, you can also turn that into a character. Just like make a character with whatever like inspires you. Like again, you know, you could totally make something that you wanted to personify, or just make something to be the basis of your world building if you are a world builder, and then just like work around it. It's really interesting to have something to kind of be the foundation of what you want, because once you have a foundation, then you can create something that really grows bigger and just like into something that you will probably like. Blah, 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 blah. What I know about fairies are their fickle temperaments, charming beauty, and silly way with words. Just generally, they're very whimsical air about them. So I wanted to make like those aspects very translatable in a visual medium. So while doing so, I was also thinking about Filibuster Frog's world building ideas for the Fae, because they have amazing world building and amazing art. And I thought it would be really cool to take it into this game because, well, they were mostly doing the world building for tabletop games anyway. And this DM was very eager to work with it and help me world build basically, and encourage my world building along with it. It was really fun and interesting. And so in the end, I came out with a very jovial face. And I like to think that it's a very inviting face, very warm, in the, yeah, very warm actually compared to like their real skin tone, which you can see with their blue ears. I wanted to really like make it so that they really are covered in a shell, and I wanted to take a lot of whimsical colors like pastels and things that just giving it a shinier effect so that it could be a bit more distinctive of like a fairy. And for the actual personality that comes out in role-playing, I ended up figuring out that I wanted this character to be very spoiled. I didn't want to like make it more like Disney fairies. I wanted it to be more, you know, like actual folklore fairies. And I think that the backstory for Wine is that she's a Sealy Court gentry, and she's basically trying to get back home while trying to cope with the fact that she has, in her eyes, become imperfect, because, you know, they made mistakes to make them get, why am I using they? Her pronouns are she. Basically, like, she thinks her imperfections are why she got exiled, and that's correct, but also her imperfections aren't really imperfections. They were just mistakes or things that the Fae courts just did not like because they're quite traditional and very stagnant, and that's what I like to think that the Fae are like. They're very stagnant as a culture and as personal, like as in personalities. They find themselves being stuck in a certain way because they have to maintain their quote-unquote perfection, and because of that they can't change or grow as normal people would. because basically they're like, you know, they view themselves as the things that create beauty in the rest of the world, but because of that they can't really be ugly and, well, quote unquote ugly, and things that don't look beautiful to them need to basically stop and like just don't exist. So if they find any like mistakes and imperfection within themselves, or like mistakes of, you know, like not being beautiful enough within themselves, they're gonna be like, bye, lol. Wine is represented by fairy tale pink, white clovers, hummingbirds, wind chimes, Florence and the Machine's South London Forever, and Monachopsis. I don't know. I've actually drawn out more of wine's like physical items, which are more for flavor and less for use in game. But thinking of their inventory also helps a lot. So wine's inventory has its spellbook, a map, a spool of spider silk, crochet hooks, a mini tea set, a water skin, cookies, honey, a flute, deck of cards, and their old mask. Even the littlest things can show off like a character's presence. Hi, thanks for watching. This is a really quick outro that I just made because I forgot to film an outro. But yeah, thanks. I hope you had fun and you learned something, and I'll put all the music that I have in the description, and also all the information, and also just a general summary of what the hell I said throughout all of the video, because I rambled 90% of it. Okay, thanks, bye!